Yo, yo, yo.
And I got a DeVita, honey.
Let's see, get some Iron butterfly.
Correct.
Nice.
For there is a shortage of iron ore. Poof, beef. What is going on here? I cannot find any iron ore in the.
I thought you were about to go on like a market tangent about like the price of iron's about to rip or something. I was like, all right, cool.
I need iron ore to build swords. I need iron ore to build shields. My orcs are ill-equipped. And
discussing the real problems.
Iron ore is going for more than rarer commodities. So here's something you guys should apply to all markets and all things when you're thinking, right? Something could be more rare, okay, than something else. But if the demand for it isn't there, the thing that is less rare can be worth more money. This is counterintuitive to the Bitcoin scarce asset generation, where you're just programmed to think, well, if it's rare, it's valuable. If it's scarce, it's valuable. Well, iron ore is the most used commodity in building items in the Ether Orc ecosystem. Therefore, you need it more than the other commodities. And because the rare commodities are only used for making high-end weapons that most people don't have access to initially, everyone just needs iron ore. So the price on iron ore is as expensive as some of the rare commodities. Now, what is the trader in you thinking? R2, what should we do?
For iron ore or in general?
For iron ore. Well, there's two things you could do here. You could buy up rare commodities now, understanding that they are underpriced relative to how valuable they'll be a little later in the game. Or you can, instead of going for the rarer items in the game, you can become a commodity harvester. In other words, if you go to the lower levels, you don't have access to the very high-end loot, like the coins and all the stuff that's worth like 0.25 and 1 ETH on OpenSea right now. People are, you're tempted by that because like, oh, I could pull something out of this loot box that's worth 1 ETH. But if you just spent all that time getting iron ore and commodities, you'd probably make more money right now because iron ore is overpriced. There you go. Everything.
Fairer than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's what I took out of it. No, you're right. You're right. There has to be demand for something. It's not enough that there's just not much of it. That doesn't make it valuable at all.
Ether Orcs, everything in the Ether Orc ecosystem is undervalued right now. I would buy everything. Allies, orcs, the whole kit and caboodle.
I think I've made 3 paintings in my life. That's pretty scarce. Not much demand for them. Not worth very much.
No. You should mint them. Farouk was looking for NFTs.
I've showed you one, haven't I?
I don't know.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I did a pixel art thing back in high school, a painting. The original pixel art.
I mean, I've seen your art. I've seen your pixel art.
Yeah. This one was, I don't know, fuck, if I'm going to be able to find a picture of it now, it might take me a little while. Yeah. I'll figure it out. But yeah. I did one back in high school. Had an offer for $200 for it. Did not sell it.
What's the floor price now?
Whatever I decide to list it for, baby. Floor price, $15,000. You want a pixel art Jimi Hendrix to hang on your wall? It's yours. Hit me up. What's that? 5, 6, 7. Let's say 7 ETH, 7.5 ETH.
You know, ETH moves too much on a daily basis for us to figure out how to price things in it. Who decided we should be pricing things in this volatile currency?
So one of the biggest.
Think about this.
One of the biggest things that people will use against cryptocurrencies ever being worth anything or used for anything is the volatility of it.
Certainly. used as a daily transactional currency, you need stability. You need relative stability, right? You don't normally see global currencies move 50% in a year unless the country itself has seen some sort of revolution or upheaval or major event. But markets are hard enough when you're not worrying about the underlying currency you're trading markets in. That is how difficult trading things on ETH, whether it's NFTs or whether it's ERC20s. You're, like people always talk about DeFi and in dollar terms, right? But it's actually a much better exercise to look at your DeFi coins in ETH terms. You get a much better idea because remember, they're showing you the dollar value, but these things are priced in ETH. They are paired with ETH, okay, in their liquidity pools. It is ETH that really is how you should be judging these things. If you look at Uniswap and Curve and a lot of these, they may be down, they may be at their IPO price in dollars. They are down 90% from their ICO price in ETH.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That it's just if you're gonna buy into this blockchain, if you're gonna say, okay, I believe ETH is gonna be it. I don't know if it's today, tomorrow, or whatever. It would behoove you to be thinking about things in ETH terms now, especially if we're talking about the things you trade on ETH. I'm not talking about like, oh, I paid 10 ETH for a Porsche. Okay, I'm not saying about real world stuff. But if you're trading on ETH, I would think in ETH terms. It's just very difficult, especially if you are, especially if you make a living in crypto. You're always thinking about the dollar value. It's really, there's a lot of variables there, but it is certainly I think it's one of the funnier things in a way. Like, it's like we're doing this incredibly difficult thing, which is trading. And I mean, traditional trading is just not an easy thing. It's very emotional, right? It's about learning your emotions. So we're doing this extremely difficult thing, and we've added a layer of complexity to it it makes me laugh at times, I guess. So
yeah, you're trading, it's the crypto market on crack, which is on crack itself. Like, it's, yeah. But you're absolutely right. I mean, if you're making trades and making moves and stuff like that, you do see a lot of people denominate in dollar value, despite the fact that they spent ETH. But like, it is important to think about, would I have done better to just hold ETH during that time?
Right.
Would that have been the better play?
Exactly.
Because ETH, like you said, ETH can go way up. The value of the other token can go way up. But did ETH go up more? Did you lose out on the amount of ETH that you had?
But when you understand this layer of complexity that's been added, it presents to you what I believe are very, very interesting opportunities. We talked about this last week. I think NFTs are cheap in USD terms. Now think, there's a road you have to take to get there, right? Because you still have to go through ETH to get there. But we got to a point where the NFT bear market, it just hit a bottom. Like, floors couldn't go any lower. Things were down 95%. Like, what? Were they just going to go to zero? No, like eventually people give up on selling, right? It's not even about like, it can't go lower. It's people give up. Like you don't, it's not moving.
Non-crypto people that are looking to get into NFTs are denominating in dollar terms too, right? Like they're going to look at, you got to go through ETH, as you said, but I'm going to buy this. Oh my God, it's going to cost me $1,200. Oh, it's going to cost me $1,500. It's going to cost me $15,000.
That's one reason the free mint meta is so interesting, right? If we can get, and there was a CNET article last week about goblins.
I saw that.
Yeah. And I'm telling, if somehow we can catch a news cycle of people are minting things for free and getting rich, oh baby. I mean, that could really, really appeal to the masses and bring them in, because when you do talk to a normie, when you do talk to people who aren't in crypto, you tend to hear things like people bought a Bored Ape for $400 and it's $100,000 now. You don't hear they bought it for 0.08 and it's 100. It doesn't make sense to people. They don't know what to what to make with that. And in those high-end collections, the only people buying them now are thinking in dollar terms. They're not thinking in.
I actually was talking to somebody recently who is not in NFTs or crypto, but looking to get into NFTs. And again, like I will be explicit in saying, like, if somebody comes to me with a genuine curiosity and wants some help wrapping their head around it, I will do that. I will never try and change someone's mind. I will never suggest that they do it. But I'll be there for them to answer questions and whatnot. But we were looking at OpenSea. Like, I like this project. He's like, oh, okay. Like, what's that? You know, what is that price denominated? And I'm like, that's Ethereum. He's like, okay, I thought I recognized that symbol. Perfect. He goes, and what's an Ethereum worth these days? I think the project was around 0.5. And I was like, about roughly $2,000, like a little bit less, but roughly. He's like, oh shit, those are $1,000 each. I was like, oh yeah, man, yeah. Like it's, but that 0.5 to them, they look at it and go, wow, that seems cheap. And I'm like, no.
I mean, even now, like take a collection, take Little Lemon Friends, okay, at 0.05 or whatever they're sitting at right now, 0.04, who knows? Okay, they're 0.05. That's $100 right now. If you went into a store and showed somebody a printout of one of these lemons and said it was $100, they'd probably take a step back and be like, huh? Like $100 in the real world makes people think. Yep. Okay. When we're talking at Ether, we don't really fit. Like usually it's like, oh, it's 0.2. 0.2. That's not even one.
That's less than 0.3.
Right. So I think this is the thing we're not completely thinking about. It's one reason I think the free mint meta is important. And shout out to, I know you're gonna love this one, Beanie Maxi, who called the free mint meta a good 5 months ago and told us all that free mints were going to be the norm. And we talked about it on this show. It's pretty obvious in a sense if you think about media in general. Right? Kids don't pay for music. Okay. I mean, maybe they pay for Spotify. Most of them don't. Most of them just sit through the ads, right? Why should I pay? I'll deal with the ads for 30 seconds. People are not, the newer generations are used to getting media for free or at an extremely discounted bundle type of price. Whereas in the old days, we went in and paid $20 for a CD, a movie. Okay,
those were the times, eh?
Yeah. And with a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds in the NFT industry in the beginning, it made a lot of sense. Okay, you buy thing. Well, the free mint meta is going to make a lot more sense to the average person, especially when we're talking about your average project. I think you're obviously going to have moonbirds and things like that mint at a high, there's always going to be marquee brands that just have the branding power and the current position to actually demand a mint price now. But people are calling it a meta, and I do think, of course, we're in a trend where everything is like that. I think a large part of the NFT industry is going to stay this way. I think look at what we're going to go over it on the show. We're all going to die, which debuted over the weekend. Free mint, 5,700 ETH in volume. 5,700 ETH.
I could definitely see free mint's higher royalties start to pick up too, right? You pay a little bit more on the back end, right?
Yep, great point. If you are getting,
what was that? There was a project that we were just talking to them. They were like, the mint is free, but you only have to pay for it once you want to be able to transfer it. That's Copium Wars. I was talking to Akon. You sat out that show because you weren't feeling well, which is fine. But yeah, you mint it and it's free to mint, but to enable it to be transferred, that's when you actually have to pay the mint price, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Dynamic.
So I do think that is the trend that's going to happen now. Is the majority of mints are going to be free. That is, as we can see, more profitable for a project that didn't even know if it was going to mint out, right? When you price for free, you're pretty much, especially now, guaranteed to mint out because there are bots that are literally just targeting every free mint. You put a free mint out there, they see it on Moby, it's very likely going to mint out. You may not have minted out had you had a mint price on it. Now you're out in the marketplace, and look at what happened to We Are All Gonna Die, 5,700 ETH in not only did they mint out, they made more than had they actually charged the price. And who knows whether they would have had the volume because of it.
Yeah.
They likely would have only had this volume because it was the next hot free mint. So
before we get into the market discussion, and then we will touch back on the free mint meta, I did find that the painting that I made, and I was just going to show that right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you could see that.
Nice.
Yeah, also a Jimi Hendrix pixel art painting. Took me fucking forever to do that.
Man, you have been on the pixel art for a minute.
OG, man. That's cool. I gotta get that. I think it's hidden in my parents' house or something. Hang it up on the wall. I don't know. I liked it. Not to toot my own horn or hang my own art up, but yes. Guys, GM, nice little pre-show chat there. I mean, that was a lot of the show anyway, so I'm glad you guys are around for it. But it is Monday, June 6th. It is episode 133 of the morning show. I'm your host, R2Dgen, and I'm joined with me, as always, by Free Market Capitalist.
Hey, now.
It has been a weekend. I don't know. It seemed to be going pretty much sideways for the entire weekend until it looked like there started to be a little bit of green, a little bit of life in the market yesterday, just before I was going to bed. Woke up to about 5.5% up, while 6.3% up on Ethereum in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin, which has been surprisingly stable throughout all of this, is almost 6% up right now, and we could be looking pretty good. Checking the S&P market right now, it's also doing pretty well after the opening bell, up about 1.2%. How are we feeling about things? Is this what we were looking for? We had some nice consolidation down just below 1,800, 1,750, but it never seemed to get the sell pressure that it needed to break below, and plenty of buy pressure kind of to pick up the slack on there. And once you coil it for a little bit, we got that nice bounce up. What are you seeing?
Picking tops and bottoms is not easy, but if you are going to, you'd better be prepared to sit there and watch the chart for a few weeks. And I mean, like, pretty much constantly watch it. Now, what are you watching? You're not watching the candles that everyone else is watching. You watch flow. You watch the actual tape and see where the buy sell orders are, how big they are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I noted something over the weekend because I'll tell you, at the close on Friday, we had quite the day on Thursday. Markets were up a lot. It felt really good. If there had been follow through on Friday, it could have been explosive. What happens? We come in on Friday and everything's shitting again. And we didn't lose any major supports, but everyone just felt bad. It was just like, like we just had this great rally there. We wanted continuation. It stopped us in our tracks, reversed us. Bears are celebrating today, saying bulls got too cocky, too eager, whatever. Crypto towards the end of the day was really looking loose. Like, it was looking drippy. It hadn't made any big moves, but the chart looked so precarious. It felt like the moment the S&P closed, everyone was just going to start selling crypto. Like, it was just going to be like, all right, S&P's closed. Let's go start selling Bitcoin and ETH now. And on Friday, I was like, man, chart doesn't look good. Looks like we're gonna die. We may see 1600s over the weekend. It was what it felt like, and it fell down to that 1750 level where it had fallen a week prior. And I'll tell you, sell orders just disappeared. Every time ETH fell under 1800, those big sellers were just gone. And look, don't get me wrong. Every time we went back over, they'd show up again. But it was not lost on me that if you watch the tape, the big sellers who kept knocking us down anytime we were above 1900, they disappeared. And we would just, it was like you could feel support. You could feel that there was something underneath, a bid underneath in a way. The sellers would disappear. And second week in a row, you felt that way. The difference this weekend is we did not get the weekend rally, which was another bullish point for me, because For so long now, we have had the sell-off during the week, weekend bounce, sell-off during the week. Just constant, frustration of back and forth, every weekend feeling like relief, and then every week feeling like hell. When we did nothing over the week, it was really weird. Like ETH was just pasted.
Yeah, I kept checking it, and I was
it was
doing anything.
Yeah, I kept pulling down the refresh. Like, shit, is my shit broken?
Yeah, same. We're all the same.
Yeah, it was in such a tight range, and I really like watching it over the weekend. Having been watching it really closely now for 3 weeks, I started to get super bullish. Like it feels like they've run out of sellers here. Now, that does not mean they're not coming back later in the year. You all know that I believe that the year will still be rocky, especially in the fall, as the fall comes. But I have also been planning for a big summer counter rally, and it may have begun. It feels very good out there. It feels very bullish. We have to take out 2,000 on ETH. We have to take out 30. Is it 32 or 34?
32 is always the mark in Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah, 32,000 on Bitcoin. If we can get above 2,200 ETH and 34K on Bitcoin, it should cause quite the squeeze. So we are looking at good markets today. Things seem good. Let's see if we can actually get follow through. It has been each side wins every day. You have one day the Bulls feel amazing. You have one day the Bears feel amazing, and it's wearing on both sides.
Yeah, definitely a war of attrition for sure. And that's where I do think that you can get bullish on the idea of scarcity, because eventually I do think that scarcity does take over.
Yeah.
You're transferring all of these, let's just assets or whatever, from the Bears to the Bulls, and the Bulls are, obviously looking for everything to go up. Eventually those sellers run out of things to actually sell.
Right.
And the buyers there's not a lot of impetus for them to sell for a while, right? Especially in this in crypto, where you're expecting outsized returns, right? So most of these people, except for the day traders, I mean, they're not looking for 10% scalps, 20% scalps. They're looking for that. I need 75%, and now you start feeling good about taking some profit, right?
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I feel pretty good about where we are right now too. And I don't want to see it go any lower. I do think that we'd start to get pretty precarious. As you said, you start break below 1,700, 1,600, and things can get pretty nasty pretty quickly as people start to panic. But
I feel
feels pretty healthy here.
I feel very good that we would see 1,400 if we took out the lows again. I think 3 knocks on the 1,700 door would be too much.
I think we already got that though.
Was it 3 that we got?
I think we've gotten 3.
It wasn't 3 because we did.
I'm looking at the year. I mean, the year, we were pretty much bounced.
We hit 1,800 initially and briefly touched like 1,790 or 1,780, but it was back above 1,800 really quick. Then we had the real crash down to like 1,706. Then we had that bounce last week to 2K, and then we fell to 1,750 again. So
yeah, I got you. Yeah, right there.
Like true knocks on the 1,700 door, I'd say we've had 2. And a third one would not be good. That's something I say at every both ways. You get 3 knocks on the door to the upside, you're likely going to see a big rally too. So ideally this holds here. Ethereum has some very specific news to it that is bullish. It is June 6th today. We get our test net in 2 days on June 8th. Depending on the flow, the news flow out of that test, it could be the headline excuse we need to get ETH to rally, right? Because once the technicals are in place, you really just need some sort of headline to start it off. Like, people will always credit the headline is the reason. It tends not to be it's not the gas in your tank. It's just the spark that lights it on fire, right? So ideally, the tests on Tuesday go very well. We get some bullish Ethereum news and maybe a hard date in August for a merge. And then I do think it'll be up only for a couple months. There'll be pullbacks, 24, 2,500, a lot of overhead supply, 26 to 2,800. a lot of overhead supply. So I do expect pauses there, but I do think the general trend will be up towards 3,000, 3,500 into August if the testnet news is good 2 days from now.
We'll be watching, and we'll be here. Let's get into NFTs. Not a lot of non-NFT related news, which I'm fine with, but another day, another Bored Ape hack. This time, actually in the Bored Ape Yacht Club Discord. It was briefly lived, but just enough time for a couple $1,000,000 in NFTs to get stripped. Bored Ape co-founder comes out and criticizes Discord after NFTs worth 200 Ethereum snatched in exploit. Others have criticized the criticism of the platform, saying it shouldn't be blamed if not used correctly. This is the third major, let's just say Yuga exploit, hack, whatever you want to call it, in what I'm going to just say 3 months. It's probably less than that. Of course, we saw the Instagram one around the other side time where a lot of people got roped into that one. There was the Me6 bot that got all of the major Discords. Bored Apes not excluded from that. And then this time, I think a little less clear on what actually happened. They did put out a statement saying the Discord servers were briefly exploited today. The team caught it and addressed it quickly. About 200 ETH worth of NFTs have disappeared, have been impacted. We are still investigating, but if you're impacted, send them an email. Yeah, I don't know that Gordon Goner here, co-founder of Bored Apes, coming out and blaming it on Discord is totally fair. I do think that there is lots of things that Discord needs to do. It was never built, I think, to be transacting this much money as a hub, and I think that they are trying to catch up. But yeah, I mean, Yuga, Bored Apes, they're of the echelon that I am sure that they can pay people to be, auditing not only their bots and everything, but the team members, the admins, the devs in the Discord, whoever's controlling the Instagram account. Like, I get that sometimes shit happens. Social engineering is always the easiest kind of failure point in any chain, but there's something missing here. And we often criticize Bored Ape holders for not being super savvy. Why are you facilitating these, off marketplace transactions, getting scammed, clicking on bad links in the Discord? It seems to happen all the time. It's starting to seem like it really is just from the top down too. I mean, obviously Yuga Lab's doing very well for themselves, but there seems to just be a level of disconnect of like, why don't they have somebody that's just a full-time keeping an eye on the people who are in control of these social media accounts and whatnot? There just seems to be a step missing, and I'm not really sure. Obviously, Bored Apes are like the highest target to go for, the most valuable NFTs, and even just getting one or two successful exploits often means hundreds of thousands of dollars for the person who ran it. But yeah, they need to, there's something they need to do better. You there?
The Discord hacks started up again a couple weeks ago. I think it was a Me6 exploitation. Some employee there was exploited or socially engineered or something like that. And I guess you would think Bored Apes would have more of a whatever, but I don't know. I love free markets, and I don't feel like babysitting a bunch of idiots who spent 6 figures on JPEGs. And I'm sure some of you bought them for $400, but I'm just saying, I don't know how many times we could talk about security in this industry before people take it seriously. I don't care anymore. If all the Bored Apes end up in the hands of scammers, that's it's just the way it is.
Yeah, shit. I mean, this is a learning experience for all parties involved, I guess. This guy Corey, I just highlighted in the article, but it actually had a pretty interesting little idea here. How to never get your Discord hacked. Only allow a single bot to post announcements. Post the announcement on chain. The bot reads messages from on chain and reposts them in the Discord. That's actually a pretty interesting idea, to be honest with you, because he who controls the keys. can make those announcements, and the bot can only pull that. So interesting idea. I don't know if that's completely foolproof, but I haven't seen anyone kind of go that route. So cool.
I think Discord is losing a bit of its standing here to Twitter Spaces and Twitter in general, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we've often talked about the limitations of Discord and how it can be frustrating. I think organizationally, it's horrible. There's not a lot of customization in the UI that can allow people to kind of organize it as themselves. Things like a built-in calendar would do wonders for them. But even just like, for this show, when we used to do it on the stages were actually quite buggy. There would often be times where we'd have a guest up on the stage and I could hear him and you couldn't, or you could hear him and I couldn't, or neither of us could, but the audience could. Very, very strange kind of things happening. And also the fact that you can only stream to like 25 people, right? So if you want a video component of a show or something, like you got to do it in voice chat, and then people come in, you can hear their mom yelling in the background for them to come to dinner, whatever. It's they have an opportunity to do some really incredible things, and nothing seems to have changed about Discord since I started using it for this in the past year and a half.
I'm just wondering if projects even need Discord. I think Discord provides too much access at this point. There, like this 24/7 access it's debilitating, I think, for both sides. It's the difference for me between cell phones and beepers or pagers. I don't know if you kids know what those are, but it was a thing you wore on your hip. And if someone wanted to contact you, they would send you their phone number, or in the later iterations, actual text. But they would send you a phone number, and it was you got back to them when you could, because it was a beeper and you needed to find a phone because you didn't have cellular phones. That's what Discord is like to me. Twitter is like a beeper. You make a statement, you DM somebody, you got to wait for them to reply. It's not this fluid, constant, is live, moving chat at all time, like blah 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 blah. It is constant. It is crazy, and I'm just wondering how much of it. It's not that Discord shouldn't be there. It's, are they formatted correctly? Is the way projects have set up Discord? It's essentially like a Slack channel for your employees. And the people who bought your NFTs are not your employees, and they're all in your Slack, like asking you strange questions about it's just a weird, I think it's weird how we blended the idea of video game Discords with NFTs, which has worked and is fine and was a lot of fun. And we have a lot of great memories with it, but I do not think it is conducive to both sides. I'm not saying that the projects need a break. There's a million reasons why consumers are hating the Discord experience as well. Whether it's the constant DMs, the spam, the scam, the feeling like you need to be there and grind and not be outside, all that shit. Both sides could do with less Discord.
I'm just going to pull up the tweet. I'm assuming this is the one that Dickenzo is talking about from Fubar. Instagram gets hacked. We need a new Instagram. Discord gets hacked. We need a new Discord. Other side mint fails. We need a new blockchain. I don't know. The common denominator is you. Yeah.
Dickenzo, did you send me an NFT over the weekend?
Oh, yeah. That's right. I was like, I forgot about that too.
Did you? Was it him or did someone just steal the idea?
No, I don't know. I got a Dickenzo NFT show up in my wallet. I'm not touching it because I have no idea who the.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It went right to my hidden, so don't be offended if it was something you actually sent me. I assumed it was some sort of art blocks derivative scam. But if it's an actual original Dickenzo, I will unhide it back into my main wallet.
Yeah. No, he's just been playing the long game. He's like, oh, yeah, I got to show up to the show every single day.
Gain their trust.
Gain their trust. It's the ultimate honeypot. Talk to them every day. Make them feel good. Then drop them. Hit them with a Dickenzo. Boom.
I think about that now and again. Who is doing the long con? Very effective.
Maybe it's me.
It reminds me of that hack where like the hacker waited months to When we thought that was how many days have we had in the last 4 months where ETH and NFTs were going to zero, and we were like, oh shit, no, they're literally hacking everybody. Everyone's about to lose all the NFTs, all NFTs. They're hacking everybody's wallet right now. They're just gonna steal all the NFT. Oh, awesome! Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful, buddy. All right, I'm gonna unhide it. I appreciate it.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see the I did not see the tag as well. So thank you, and I will go unhide it.
Can I pull it up here? I'm gonna pull it up. Let me find it. It's exactly what you would expect it to be.
Yeah. Did you see how they hid the hidden folder now? You got an extra tab.
So you put yours in the hidden folder. Then mine didn't go into the hidden folder. Gosh.
No, like I didn't know if it was a glitch. Like every once in a while,
I gotcha. Yep.
I'll see them in my main, and then they'll automatically go to the hidden. And so, I don't know. I don't know what OpenSea's criteria is for automatically hiding stuff, because now people, I couldn't tell if people were
I love it.
airdropping things on ETH or what. I was getting ETH. Ooh, that's really good, actually.
Yeah, they
look great. They look great.
Going straight on the wall.
Yeah.
Well done. Good job, dude. Cool.
I feel like you ripped off Hapori, but that's a joke. I did that.
Yeah. No. Cool. Let's talk about Epic Games. Epic Games. I'll make this bigger for y'all. Epic Games Store's first NFT game is Gala's Wild West shooter Grit. Gala Game plants a Web3 flag in the popular PC marketplace Epic Games Store, with plans to roll out its Battle Royale game this year. I gotta say, if you play Fortnite, you have Epic Games on there and you are constantly exposed to the Epic Games Store. It has become quite a substantial marketplace in the traditional gaming world, and they do often give away games for free on there. So people
these are games they've made, or they
Nope. It's it's like Steam. They did make Fortnite. Epic Games made Fortnite, but these are not exclusive to Epic Games produced. They could be anything, and they have a very, very large selection. Same with Steam. Steam made the popular Half-Life, Team Fortress, Counter-Strike. Well, Counter-Strike was a mod, but I digress. But you know, they made the marketplace and are the distributors. So Epic Games has is got a massive user base. I think it's like 190 million daily active users, if I recall in this article correctly. And they are starting to add Web3 games. Steam, of course, banned crypto and NFT friendly IP. Epic Games is going in the opposite direction. We have had articles in the past about them being bullish on this, and this is actually a pretty big deal. I have no commentary on the actual game, though I am inclined to go check it out because I do have Epic Games Store myself, and they are calling these NFT enhanced games. So I would assume that is centered around the cosmetics aspect of it. This is going to be a Wild West themed battle royale game. I think this is really cool. I mean, the cosmetic element of games, Web3, NFTs is always my easiest explanation to anybody asking, like, why NFTs? If you can have an honest discussion with a gamer that's not just going to go and tell you everything's a fucking scam, they'll really start to wrap their heads around this. But again, Epic Games is fucking huge. So, you know, it's just starting. Again, bear market, depression, crypto crash, NFT crash, everyone lost their shirts. That's the narrative you see, but these big companies are still pointing their ship in this direction. They're not shying away from it. We talked last week about how athletes, the NBA, these big sponsorships, Formula One, I mean, they're driving headfirst towards it despite all of this bad press. So every time I see another company continuing to push the envelope in this, I get bullish. Now, the one thing that I do find funny, and we could bring this back to the Discord conversation too, because we were this close to getting NFT integration and crypto integration into Discord. And of course, all of the traditional gamers that use Discord forever said, no, fuck you. Like, you know, you can't do that. You traders, sellouts, blah, 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 scam, 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 scam. It's important to just have those choices. You could integrate NFTs and crypto into Discord, and any gamer that doesn't want anything to do with it never would have had to have seen it. But, you know, they have that. It will only be a matter of time before Discord changes their tune and heads back in that direction. Epic Games leading the charge is a big step forward in the right direction.
Correct.
Just waiting on that Grand Theft Auto 6. I think there's going to be some kind of element of that in there too. Maybe I don't know if they'd use their flagship IP as
Is this P2E or it's just is this P2E?
No, I don't suspect so. You know what? I mean, I literally just pulled this up on the news about an hour before the show. So I don't have a ton of context into how it's working, but I do want to download it and check it out and see what's going on with it. I highly suspect it's not P2. I think it would fall under the play and own kind of aspect that we talk about a lot. Like, I think if you're playing the game, you unlock these cosmetic items. You know, maybe you get a cool shiny gold gun. It doesn't have any impact on the play except for it makes you look like a badass. I'm imagining that you now have ownership, like real true digital ownership on the blockchain of that item. So as those kind of rewards pop out, like, yeah, maybe that's the earning element of it, but I don't think it's token based.
Okay, interesting.
Also, I also didn't realize this about Gala Games, but it has game developers Will Wright and Peter Molyneux on there. Molyneux, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Those are in traditional gaming. Those are some of the biggest names you could possibly imagine. So that's pretty dope too. So Gala might be something to actually look out for.
Looked like cool graphics, and you know what? We haven't seen any Western themes here.
And just sign me up, man. Red Dead Redemption, I love it.
All right, come on.
Yeah, we haven't seen any Western themed NFTs, have we?
I'm sure we're forgetting.
Cowboys.
There's none that are too popular.
And I want to go a little bit deeper into this conversation. As you pointed out this morning, there was an article released about the new Diablo Immortal game. This, of course, through Blizzard Activision, who is constantly on again, off again about NFTs and crypto. But the Microsoft acquisition of this is incredibly bullish in that sense. Apparently, it costs $110,000 to fully gear up in Diablo Immortal. And I would highly suspect that you'll see a couple people actually pay that price. One of the biggest issues that traditional gamers have is the idea of pay to win. This would be a for instance of that, absolutely. But I do think that the dynamic of that shifts substantially. So if we could take Diablo Immortal and try and reimagine it in a Web3 setting, I think what you'll find is actually quite intriguing because, and we had a great conversation about this in the pre-show, and we've talked about it plenty of times in the past. Money is an exchange for time and energy, right?
Yes.
You pay for, you go to a restaurant, you pay for somebody to buy all the food, prepare it, cook it for you, bring it to you, serve you, do the dishes. Like, you are transferring your money to them for all of that time and energy and goods provided. That seems all very obvious, but, you know, in a sense, everything is pay to win, right? Like, if you want a new dining room table, you can either spend, 5,000 hours of practice to become, a substantially good carpenter and craftsman and build your own, or you could spend 30 minutes at the store shopping for it and paying, $1,500, and that money is kind of transferred to somebody that did spend all of that time learning how to make, woodwork and all that stuff. This is the same thing, right? In this instance, you're just spending $110,000 and you're giving it to Blizzard Activision, a multi-billion-dollar company that probably is a drop in the bucket for them, but this is their revenue stream. If you can take this into Web3, You know, the traditional gamers, they're playing it, they're having a good time, they're enjoying the game, and I think that is a really, really, really important component of this. They're earning gold, maybe they're farming gear. Some, you know, they work their way up, they grind to get to the top tier loot, and they say, you know what, I could sell this on the marketplace for $2,500. That would make a substantial impact in my life. You would get somebody who maybe has a really busy job, career, they earn $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, and they really want to enjoy this game with their friends. They want to play the top tier stuff, but they don't have, you know, 100 hours, 1,500 hours, whatever people do to grind it. They can't afford to spend that time to do it, so they're left out. But they say, well, I have all of this money, so why don't I just, you know, exchange that for someone? So in that sense, if that $110,000 every time someone's doing it, or whatever amount of money it is being redistributed into the players that are playing the game, you know, maybe this is the game is built on 10,000 NFTs that are all kind of staked, releasing tokens, and you can use those tokens to buy stuff. You're now rewarding the network participants for, you know, I'm going to air quote, but securing and putting work into the network, and it's redistributed. And I think that the people that are playing the game now have less of a problem with the idea that it is pay to win, because the money is being redistributed back to them and not just some ominous entity that is profiting and not giving back, right? So that's the trade-off. Somebody else is going to be able to do great on the leaderboard, and they paid a lot of money, but at least the money went to us. And I think that's just a really fascinating dynamic shift in this. So maybe in the future, if Diablo Immortal was a Web3 game, maybe it still does cost $110,000. But maybe that's just because the free market decided that it does, and the players are the ones that are reaping the benefits of this. So I have less of a problem with the fact that it happens like this, and more of an excitement that eventually that dynamic could be shifted back to the player base.
Yeah, you could argue it could be more expensive or cheaper if it got to the free market. You're not sure. I think, you know, it's what we debate all the time, whether it's on Twitter or our terrestrial Thursdays where we talk about P2E. What is preventing the people who play Fortnite from getting into it? And I think these articles, the last two we went over, make it very clear to me. It's just about onboarding and UI, right? If tomorrow some very comprehensive play-to-earn on-chain game launched on one of these Steam or Epic Game Marketplace, or if there was no friction and nothing anybody had to do but buy it or download it with their credit card, however these things work, I think gamers would adopt it. To the advantages are obvious. I think what their concern is, you're offering me this really great thing, like I get to own everything. What's the catch? And then you tell, well, you have to do this and this, and then you got to buy this thing and change it into, and it makes them feel like there's an angle, like there's a catch here, right? And in reality,
people are inherently skeptical, and that's not a bad thing.
Sure. And the catch here is for the gaming company. They're the ones whose business models are threatened, okay? So the catch is not for the gamers. And I think it's the same thing as NFTs or crypto in general. People have to have this one-click, one-stop ease into getting in, or it's just going to be the people who are early until then. Because it's, as we say ad nauseum, it is the fact that there is so much friction right now that is your opportunity. But there will come a point where in order for us to take that next step, the friction has to go away, or we're all trading money around with each other.
I think the other important element is that right now what we see in P2E games is that you have to own the base NFT to actually have access to it. It's an access pass too, right? You will eventually see anybody can play this game, but the 10,000 NFTs operate as the staking mechanism and the token release mechanism. And just imagine for a second that World of Warcraft in its original state was built on the back of 10,000 NFTs, and it wasn't just those 10,000 people that had them that could play it, and the network grew the same way. How much would those be worth if you had an opportunity by having one of those 10,000 or 2 or 10 of them or whatever, a potential stake in the actual success of the game. Of course, the company that built it, Blizzard, in this instance, is just taking their little 2.5%, 5% royalty off the top of every trade, transfer, the tokens, and all of that stuff. But I mean, how much would those be worth? They'd be worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars each, probably, right? And I do think that is what you're going to start to see too. There's going to be the base NFTs that are securing the network. They're the ones that are responsible for releasing the tokens or the gas that powers the game, much like miners do in Ethereum, and that powers that network. And something really, really brilliant will be built on top of that, but it will be accessible to play for anybody.
I also think it's so obvious to me how the free meta is bumping up against the P2E summer. I think we're going to have, combine that with the ETH merge, which is going to lower L1 gas fees.
Yeah, that does feel like this weird convergence of like perfect. Yeah, good point.
It really is. And this, it's funny because we're all looking at goblins as what started the free mint meta. Maybe it was Kaiju Kings and their scientists, which, while not a classic cook, and forgive me, I don't remember the exact dates over the last 2 weeks, who was first or whatever. But if we're specifically talking about P2E, play to own, these type of games, what Kaiju Kings did is going to be the model. I mean, imagine, you're able to minting the scientist is the equivalent of downloading the game. It's free. You don't have to participate in the play to earn side of the economy if you don't want to, and you can still play the game. Now, that is how I think these things are going to be. But any games that exist, they're going to have to develop a freemium model at the lower end. It's the only way you're going to get masses to get in. And like you said, these original NFTs, they're essentially going to be the shares in that company. And the other potential I see is being a different layer of the game, right? Like, what if they were the bosses? What if the people who bought the original NFTs were the ones you had to, it could be different value props for each side. One side could be the landlords, the people who own and control, and the other side could be the people who are trying to play and earn their way up into that echelon. So I think that I think these three things that are happening right now, as we said, feel like the perfect storm, especially.
Yeah. And we're going to get into the free mints really quickly here too, although most of that was covered at the beginning of the show and it was great. But I will say this, in terms of the gaming sense, I do think the one very important thing is if something exclusively costs money and you can't earn it through gameplay of the game, it has to be based on like cosmetic only, like, and that's fine. Any substantial gameplay advantages, if you can buy it through money, you should also be able to buy it through time of playing it too, right? So
always, yeah.
before the traditional gamers come out and say, and believe me, I am one too, I've spent countless hours thinking about this stuff before they say, you support pay to win. I do in the new world, in the Web3 world, not in the traditional world. Like, that's one of the reasons why I always loved Dota 2 is, right, you had access to everything the game had to offer right from the onset, and anything you added on was just cosmetic, and that's fun, it's cool, and all of that stuff. So anyways, before anyone kind of goes down that route, believe me, I'm on your side. Let's talk about free mints. Yeah, maybe it did kick off with the scientists. You could be completely right about that. They were definitely before Goblin Town. Goblin Town, we'll just do a little price check because we've talked about that a lot. Sitting around 6 ETH a floor there. Not too shabby. Some giant wins coming out of that. But of course, the Goblin derivatives kind of seem to have died down a little bit. But the free mint meta is still...
You haven't been around this weekend.
Well, no, I have. But I think, sorry, I should say people's willingness to participate in them. Am I wrong about that? Maybe I missed a couple.
I don't know. The poop and the pee is like a 0.6 floor. Oh, right. Neither is associated with the actual thing. And if you look at the Whale Watcher Twitter account, the top 15 mints are still all Goblin derivatives right now. Look, Goblins are ruling the day. Now, I did put in a top call last week when they hit 9 ETH, as I saw a lot of my Contras really aping in. Now they've pulled back. They seem to be holding their foot. This, I got to say, this feels a lot like Azuki, right? Like 9 felt like it was getting ahead of itself. You had a very...
You're talking about goblins specifically, not the poop.
Yeah. And you had a very frothy, like, like I said, I have some people that I follow that are absolute contras. If they are buying an NFT because it's hot, I know that at least the local top is in. But look, these have captured the culture and the zeitgeist, and the fact that they're so divisive is what fuels them. I talk about this all the time. Bull markets are built on the back of disagreements. Trends ride debate, right? People hate these things. They hate the way they talk, the spaces, they're annoying, they're ugly.
The art.
Right. They don't make sense. That is what is fueling their existence. That emotion is what is fueling their existence. So, I wouldn't, it's hard. It's a very hard call on goblins right now. Like, these are either going to 2 or to 12. And it's very hard for me to say here. I really like flip a coin and pick.
Yeah.
Well,
that's not bad considering 6 months ago we were like, there's no way that this is going to 12 now. Like it got ahead of itself. It's pulling back, but Azuki changed everything, man.
No, and right now there's nothing else going on, right? Like, this is where capital is. There's a bunch of ETH on the sidelines, but people don't want to buy old projects. In other words, projects that were minted before the crash. Is number one. Number two, they want new things, okay? But there's not a lot of new things out there because it's still a bear market, and all the very, very high-end projects are waiting for volume to come back before they... I know of a few very, very high-profile projects that are postponed and waiting until markets relieve and show them that there's some volume left there. Otherwise, like, I don't think anybody who has a $5 million project with a 0.1 mint would try to mint right now. And I think if they put that much money into it, they don't want to do a free mint. They're like, no, we're not doing that. So we're in a place right now where there's all this liquidity on the sidelines. People kind of feel a bottoming. And the only thing really to get into are goblin derivatives, and the free mints that pop up, as we're going to talk now about. We are all going to die.
Man, yeah, this one popped off. A lot of mystery, but everything that they put out has looked fantastic, honestly. Pull up the Twitter there, some of the things that they were sharing. This is really, really good pixel art, and I'm
funny.
I don't know much about it, and it doesn't seem like there is much to know. There's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of like in character talking coming from the Twitter account and all of that stuff, but a lot of eyes on this one, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
And here's what's apparent to me, and I think you kind of confirmed it in the pre-show, and I'll let you talk about that. This was not whipped up overnight. This was not like, ooh, free mint meta, like let's get it on that, and then just they start pumping out this art. This is damn good shit.
And it was funny because anybody who missed this was telling me how bad the art is, and I'm like, Dots and 3L are talking about how good this pixel art is, and it was the best pixel art in the game. Like, this is good. I don't know what people were talking about. That these are not only are these cool, the traits are fun. Like,
yes.
There's a lot like that. Oh, that black skeleton with the crown. People love the skeletons. Gremlin was all over this one. Influencers were all over. All right, I'll tell you guys a story. About a week ago, the creator of Ether Orcs, Poof, put out a tweet. That tweet said, "Hey guys, your first Poof alpha ever is coming now. I have a friend who's been developing a project for a long time that was going to be a free mint. And oh, look at this happenstance. We're in the free mint meta. How crazy is that?" I was like, all right. I saw that tweet. I was like, cool, I'll wait. Now, just by happenstance, I happened to be in the Orcs Alpha Discord when Poof dropped the link to the contract. Mind you, no website, contract only, no Discord, just the Twitter. So we start minting these things, and you're only allowed 3 per wallet, I think. So everyone's jumping around to wallets. 1 per wallet. Excuse me. This was a 1 per wallet mint. So everyone's minting them. They kind of mint out, and this was an instant cook. There were no lags. This thing was out to 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. It paused there. So its first little pullback, rocketed to 1, saw another little pullback, rocketed to 1.3, saw another little, I mean, this thing, it was just up only with small pullbacks in between, everyone buying. I believe it was 1.6 or 1.7 at the peak. Again, these are no pressure.
Big volume on them right now too. Big sweeps going on.
That's the thing too that's kept me bullish, and I got to be honest, I minted a lot of these for free, and I bought more over the weekend. And you know what got me to buy more at infinity X up from where I minted them, because I minted them for free, and I was paying 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. Why? Because I saw the rare. Okay, even when the floor died and volume went away, there's people paying 4 ETH, 8 ETH, 7 ETH for these rares. I say this all the time. When whales are in there picking off rares at those prices, they don't let the collection die. They'll go in there. What they're gonna do, they always do, and they did it every time on the way up. They wait for you to start panicking. They know you're gonna panic, and they stop buying. They'll sit and wait a few hours. They see people start dumping on the floor, cause a cascading event. They were down to 0.42. Yes, and people were panicking. It's over, blah, blah. Yet, in the midst of this, rares popping off. 2.6 ETH for this rare, 4 ETH for this rare, 8 ETH for the skeleton, the black skeleton you saw there or whatever. That's always a good indication to me that a project has legs. There's never any guarantees. I'm sure we've seen some die where you saw large rare sales like that. But I'll tell you what, Cool Man's Universe wasn't seeing sales that big within the amount of time that this was crap.
Yeah, that thing pumped up to 3 ETH, and like the highest last sale was like 20 or 18, which is really not that high above.
Not that high. And it's just, I think there was obviously free mint, cared for art, which a lot of people saw, connected to Ether.org, which always helps because it gives it some pedigree. But there's a little bit of a meme factor there too, right? We're still in the depths of the bear market. We are all gonna die. Like, it played into everyone's feeling dark right now. And it was another one of those things that kind of captured the zeitgeist perfectly. Not quite like goblins yet. I mean, I guess you never know. I don't expect these to go to 9 ETH. If they did, hallelujah. But
sometimes it's when you least expect it.
It is. It's another one of those. See, the thing is, the goblins really have that hate factor, right? Like, it's a piss cult. They use that weird language. Like, it's very easy for people to hate goblins. Like,
yes.
People could be uninterested in this, but it doesn't quite garner like hate. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but if people hate something, it has a lot more chance to get to 9 ETH than if they're.
And Goblins has that beautiful layer of cope now too, where like if you didn't get in and you saw it at 0.3, 0.4, and decided not to pull the trigger because you didn't like it or you hated it and it didn't make sense. Now that you're seething.
And with the amount of influencers. And with the amount of influencers wearing these rares as their PFP right now, if these snuck up again to like 2 ETH, it could cause a FOMO site because people are going to see all over their timeline. It's going to have gotten above the old highs. People who panic and like sold at 1 or they're going to start going, oh fuck, is the next goblin? So it's possible. I mean, my main thesis is that it ain't going much lower than where I started buying back in at 0.4, 0.5, just because the whales love it. Great art. And there's more coming today. I could tell you right now with 90% certainty, it's not a game. Don't expect like a token, a yield farm, blah, 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 blah. Okay, take that off the table. I'm like 90% sure it's not a game, though. I'm not 100%. I'm 90% sure it's not a game. That said, they are gamifying the launch, the existence of the project, the lore. They're not just saying, oh, these are out there. Go do what you want. This team has stuff coming. Now, I don't know. We don't know what it is. And it's likely very lore based. Like, don't expect airdrops or tokens or some game announcement or anything like that. But They're holding a Spaces today. They initiated a burning mechanism, which was super weird. This was when they were over 1 ETH. They were basically like, those who are willing to sacrifice souls will be rewarded by the mother, whatever their lore says or whatever. And people were like, huh, that's weird. Like, you want me to go burn this thing worth 1 ETH, right? And I want to say like 10, at least 10 were burned that night. I don't know exactly what the decision, but just as Chipper is pointing out, while this isn't your typical yield farm, here's a token game, they're gamifying this. There's something going on here. So that's what kind of kept me bullish on these. Best cook of the weekend, free mint to 1.6. Great art. You know, that's we are all gonna die. So very cool stuff. I pulled a semi-rare from the mint, which is kind of cool. It's the hoodie that you see on my Twitter PFP right now. It's fun. So yeah, shout out to Pooh and his homies over there. This is not the I'll tell everyone, this is not the Ether Orcs team. I know there were rumors that this is like the second phase of the Ether Orcs game and all. Again, throw all that out. I don't want anyone to buy on some sort of weird confused. I saw orcs moving a little bit yesterday because I think people assumed that this was I'll tell you what the funny thing was. When people started the orcs rumor, these were 1.6, and people went over and looked at the Genesis orcs sitting at 0.7, like, oh, that's weird. Like, so the underlying major Genesis asset is a lot less than these new floors, which have a higher supply. That's interesting. So again, this is not part of the Ether Orcs game. It is a friend of one of the team members. That said, but great things to come, I think. I love it. So
yeah, anybody that's seen these and played the Dark Souls games or the Elden Ring game definitely get that vibe from the art. It's if that
Elden Ring had a utility token, crypto would be mainstream tomorrow. It's all I hear about. Elden Ring.
I was streaming it in the Star Wolves Discord for the first time, and there were a couple people in there having a great time watching me get my ass handed to me. So there you go.
That shit looks so nerdy. I don't know how we haven't gotten on-chain gaming mainstream. That Elden Ring looks like fucking Eternal Elves or Orcs or any of that. I was like, okay, I understand it is the slick modern graphics. I'm surprised.
You're so fucking old.
Honestly, I am surprised people care about. Like, I remember being young, and it was like 8-bit to 16-bit, 16-bit to 30. And this is a big deal where we always wanted more realistic graphics. Now, it doesn't matter to me. Maybe it does matter.
No, I think what matters is the immersiveness of it. Like, if the world building and the creation, it makes sense and you really kind of dive into it. And that game is cool because you just get plopped down into this. And it's just just go fucking figure it out. Yeah, you're walking through these huge ancient ruins. This world feels lived in. It feels like there's growth, and it's beautiful. Right, in its own dark way.
Was Resident Evil one of the first games like that? Because I remember it being one of the last video games I ever played seriously, and it was like
what do you mean?
Like almost like a movie. Okay, like very cinematic in the way that it is presented to you. Like,
yeah. I mean, it was definitely one of the brands that kind of like push things forward, and you'd be like, oh, this is what a game can be like.
Yeah, I thought I wasn't a huge gamer. Resident Evil 2 on the PS.
Yeah.
I was
played that too.
Yep. I played that all the time.
Yeah, that's a TBT for sure.
Yeah.
Let's start to wrap this up now, but I'm gonna shout out there is For the Culture. The only thing that I will say about this, and it looks like it's been a cook free mint, but you had to kind of get allow listed for it, or there was something about it. So some people were excited about winning that. That's great. You definitely feel like it's one of those like Gary V friends, kind of low effort for the sake of it. Fuck it. It doesn't need to be good. That's fine. It's all good. The only thing that I will say is that difference from the rest of the Freeman meta is this is not an instant reveal. It is sitting here pre-reveal and trading around. So I think that's kind of one of the fun things about the free mint is that it isn't, there's no reveal process. You just throw it down, you get what you want. Oh, I need to try again, blah, 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 blah. And don't get me wrong, I do love the reveal build up and stuff like that, provided it's managed properly and it's not too long. I just don't know that it needs to happen for a free mint. And like, the pre-reveal generally is like, you want to be excited for the art that you're about to come. You might going to pull a rare. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see what pops out of this. Like, is anybody really excited about what comes out of this? Or is it just kind of the counterculture element of it? Like, I don't know. Whatever. That's my TLDR 2 cents about this. We'll see.
This is another one that is trying to lean into the meme effect here. And I want to say it was made on Microsoft Paint. Like, that was his angle. Like, I want to make something on MS Paint in 4 days that, you know, whatever.
Which I have no problem with. I really don't care. Do what you want. I'm going to be the last person to be like, this is shit art. It shouldn't exist. Blah blah blah. Like it's fine. It's all good. I just I don't know. The reveal doesn't feel good for that.
I hate that he's doing it's ridiculous. All these free mints need to be instant reveal. Pre-reveal image is ridiculous. I
just be like, who's excited to be like, oh, reveal's coming up. Can't wait to see what I got. Like that's, you know.
Yeah. My only problem is I feel like eventually messages become parodies of themselves, right? Like, I feel like we've seen this now 3 times. You brought up VFriends. That's really what the philosophy of VFriends, right? It's that NFTs are more than the picture. That's sure, what Gary is trying to say with VFriends, is that the NFT is not about the art or whatever. And this is largely that, right? It's largely the, you know, it's stupid, and you know, like all the things you think matter don't really matter. Finger up to the man, like all that stuff. Which it's a message I even agree with. It's not something that I disagree with. I just feel like eventually it becomes a parody of itself, and that's kind of what's beginning to happen here. And the guys who are true rebels, the guys who truly don't give a fuck, I don't know. I think you sense that realness in them. So this is where I start to wonder about the projects that are memeing for meme's sake. Memes happen naturally. Like,
yes, yeah. You're 100% right. Kevin.
If you lean into, like, okay, if you create the meme museum, right? Like, often Rare Pepes to me are a great example. Like, Pepe is the meme, but Rare Pepes to me are a meme museum. Like, it's people taking the idea and expounding upon it in a fun way, right? It's not trying to be a meme itself. All right. That's where I think some of these projects are starting to fail. You are not a meme. You can't force a meme. You can honor a meme, you could create meme museums, or you can accidentally stumble upon the next great meme. Creating a meme is different. Goblins leveraged a meme in a new way. Okay, now think about that. That is something that Goblin Town we've been living in for months. It's what everyone said. There's a lot of great traders were part of Goblin Town. This visualized it and gave us a club to join. Okay, that is an angle. That is different. All right. Eventually, fuck the culture or for the cult, whatever this project is. I think he's basically saying what's been said already and just trying to do it himself. I don't know enough about it. I think if you had whitelists, you mint it, great cook. I definitely disagree with the pre-reveal. Makes no sense for a free mint. All free mint should be instant reveal. Like pre-reveal tends to be where you get a lot of volume for people speculating on whether they're going to get a rare or not. But free mints are about getting that volume going right away, getting it out there, getting that volume moving. Like, this feels like, wait a minute, your whole goal is to make volume off of us, and now you're doing a pre-reveal image? Is that to try to get us to do volume? Like, it's just weird.
Yes, my friend. I agree. All right. let's start to pack this up. We are an hour and 20 minutes. Nice little Monday show. Thank you for everybody that tuned in there. Dekenza, final statement of the show. Can't wait for the free mint by an non-artist that turns out to be a huge established person. I think, yeah. I mean, I think that's what we always speculate that Banksy will do, right?
Well, that may have been goblins. There are rumors over the weekend it's people, and people played into it. So we're yet to find out. If that is the case, I think 12 is the much more likely route from.
Oh my God, yeah.
If it is not the case, 2 is the more likely.
Although I'm curious about that. Although Goblin Town has the momentum and the excitement and the attention of everyone. I mean, the 10 KTF is a Beeple related project. And I mean, it's had its ups and downs, but it's done well. But that didn't really move it for it, right? Like,
my gut tells me it's not people. Not enough.
Goblin Town.
Not enough that I would bet against it. Not enough that I'd bet against that. Something about the art doesn't scream Beeple to me.
Yeah, in some really weird way, it's almost not weird enough.
Yeah, like I don't know. And again, who the guy's an amazing artist. I'm sure he has range. I'm sure like what we've seen put out is not all he can do. I'm sure he has great range. As an artist, doesn't feel like Beeple to me, but hell, he's playing into it. Garda once again came out over the weekend and said that Yuga has nothing to do with this. This is not ours. I still think even that will not calm the speculation because again, we have that deck that says goblins in it. It's just hard to get around that. Like there is a supposedly leaked Yuga deck with a line item for 2022 that says goblins. It is very hard to get around that rumor even if it's not true. It's
I mean, if Yuga came out,
it's pretty obvious.
It would be
right. So there you go. I think right now goblins are maintaining their floor and their attention because there are founder rumors. Is it Yuga? Is it Beeple? Is it somebody cool? We don't blah 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 blah. I think that's one reason we're not finding out who the founder is. Because if we found out who the founder is, it would just be, Jim from Des Moines, and people would be like, "Oh, it's Jim."
Yeah.
Like, all right. So,
be like the worst thing for Bitcoin would be for the Satoshi's wallet to ever move any, right? Like it's that like it's better that it's a mystery. We don't want to know.
Yep.
All right, my friends, let's pack this up. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate everyone tuning in. If you don't mind doing us a solid, you're still here and you haven't done it, hit the like button. It does help. But if not, that's okay too. If you tuned in late to the show, we talked a bit about the market. It is up. It is looking good. There could be some good stuff to come, especially with ETH 2.0 testnet going live this week, I believe, on the Ropstein network. We talked about Bored Apes, Ropstein. Yeah, whatever. Bored Apes like to blame other people for their problems. The latest Discord hack cost a couple people some big money, and it is Discord's fault, apparently. Epic Games is adding NFT games to the store. That's going to be very exciting to watch. Go check out Grit, which is a Wild West shooter. We talked a little bit about the Diablo Immortal mobile game costing $110,000 to gear up, and that kind of launched us into a pretty cool conversation about how to shift that dynamic into a P2E setting and how it can work really great. And then, of course, we talked about the free mint meta. We are all going to die. Goblin Town for the culture. I saw some poop and pee NFTs kicking off this weekend too. But just kind of discussed what it all means and where it is going to take us. And I think it's pretty bullish. There's an appetite out there for people to be participating, and we are probably not all going to die. So free market on that note, anything else you want to wrap up with?
No,
feeling good. All right, we will do it again tomorrow morning at 9:30, same time as always. We appreciate you a lot. Free market, get us out of here.
There is no map, only death.